Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Jay Cruz, and this is how I sync and stack my delays.
There's a great deal of contrast in it, and currently it's upside down on our monitor, but we can sync it a fair amount of detail.
So in one of my more popular videos, I talked about how I use the Boss ES-5 to control the tempo of my delays. I like having dual delays, meaning I like having two delays on at the same time and stacking them together. When you have two separate units at your feet, it's easy to get down there and tweak when you need to. So the Boss ES-5 allows me to communicate to the Sailor Quartz via MIDI and talk to my two delays through tap. So first, there are a few things I want to clear up. Number one, because my two delay units are not in either one of the ES-5's loops, I can't control the delays, so I can't turn them on or off. I can simply tell the delays what tempo I want them to be in. The second thing is the Boss DD5 has a tap tempo in, so you can do that with any other form of tap. However, the Strymon El Capistan doesn't. My Strymon El Cap happens to be modded by this one's mine, and they put a tap tempo in and then took out the tap tempo that was on board and made it into a favorite switch. Without this mod, I wouldn't be able to do this with the El Capistan. And three, I wouldn't be able to do this with the ES-5. I've tried it, it didn't quite work. It worked okay with just the Boss DD5, but it couldn't communicate to my El Capistan. So the Sailor Quartz is my sort of in-between, my translator, if you want to put it that way. It takes any information that you give it and then translates it and gives it to the pedals in the way that they need it, whether it's tap tempo open, tap tempo closed, MIDI, whatever have you. Now let's move to my pedal board and I'll show you some of the sounds that I'm getting. You'll see my pedal board, you'll hear my voice, you won't actually see me play. I'm going to be using my T-style guitar, my J. Cruz Model T with Porter custom Tele pickups, and I'm going to be plugging into my Kemper with a Tone Junkie profile of a Morgan AC20. Now the ES-5 does a lot for me, but on the comment section I've see that people are asking me about how I set up my delays using this unit. First and foremost, yes, I'm able to sync my delays, but I'm not able to turn delays on or off because they're not in any of the loops. That's really important. Just because I am using MIDI out doesn't mean that I can control non-MIDI pedals with MIDI. I simply can give information through MIDI from the Boss ES-5 to the Sailor Quartz, and the Sailor Quartz then gives my Modded El Capistan and my Boss DD5 information in tap form. Therefore, I can sync those two delays. However, I would still need to stomp on each delay unit to turn it on or off. Using the ES-5, I'm able to tell each patch that I save on here what tempo I want that patch to be in, and then it tells the Sailor Quartz through MIDI to here, and then that gives the information out. Now, I never did anything to the Sailor Quartz. I just plugged the MIDI cable in, and immediately the Sailor Quartz and the ES-5 were communicating with each other. Keep in mind, something that I did do is I changed this mute switch and made it a tap tempo. The reason I did that is because if you're in a bind where you're not using click tracks, but you want to sync your delay still, that's a great tap tempo button. Now, the only thing you have to do is actually go into your settings in the ES-5 and tell it that you want it to sustain or maintain the tap tempo globally. What that essentially means is that you will tap in what tempo you want, and it would change all of your presets to that tap tempo. The Boss DD5 is a perfect digital delay. It's my favorite of all time, in fact. And what I like to do is keep that on a quarter note delay. I have it on 72 BPMs right now, and this is what that sounds like. Keep in mind, this delay has a pretty good amount of feedback, but it's very bright. It's very in your face. A digital delay is supposed to be the same exact signal repeated back to you, right? So the digital delay is your signal delaying. Now, if you notice, if you try to turn the mix down, you can't really get rid of this thing. It'll always somewhat be in your face because it is your sound being repeated over and over again. The El Capistan is a tape delay. As most tape delays do, they degrade as they repeat. So you get that with a little bit with analog as well, but not as much. Really with tape delays, where I really love that, how it warms up and degrades and goes away nicely. That's an essential when you're stacking delays, to have a delay that's very warm sounding, that can receive that digital delay and then warm it up quite a bit. Now I have the El Capistan on a quarter note delay, and this is what that sounds like. Now here's what happens when you stack them together. This is the Boss DD5 going into the Strymon El Capistan at 72 ppms. But mainly what it turns into is this almost pad-like sound. When you're putting the digital delay into something as warm as a tape echo delay, then you're going to get something very, very warm and ambient. And when the feedback is high, the mix is relatively low, you get this nice pad-like sound. I hope you've enjoyed that video. Please feel free to comment below, subscribe, and like. Until next time.
There's a great deal of contrast in it, and currently it's upside down on our monitor, but we can make it a fair amount of detail.